Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
My name's Bond, James Bond.
The world's most famous secret agent is back.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War.
Trick is to quit while you're still a kid.
I wouldn't think of it.
On November 17th, United Artists brings you
Trust me.
James Bond.
Welcome to a movie film commentary track. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Hey, it's going. It's Thanksgiving Day. It's Thanksgiving morning as we record this.
Yes, and I can't think of something I'm more thankful for than to be with you this morning talking shop about James Bond.
I think we have a fun conversation that awaits us. So I'm already thankful for that. I've always thought of you and I as having kind of a 006, 007 relationship.
Yeah.
So it seems appropriate that time has brought us to this moment.
Agreed. For England, Zachy.
For me. So GoldenEye celebrates its 30th anniversary this month. Just a week ago as we record this, and 30 years. How in the world is that a thing? How is it possible that GoldenEye is 30 years old already?
You know what's funny? I was having the opposite experience because
Really?
a lot of times we'll talk about 30 years old and I'll think, what? How is that possible? But somehow GoldenEye to me, I'm like, that feels about right to me in my mind. And maybe it's because we've had, another Bond since. And although it does blow my mind that Bond is as old as he is now, Casino
true.
Royale. But this feels like a firmly 90s movie to me, but in the best way.
Very much so. Yeah. Casino Royale. It's what is it? 19 years as we record this,
right? Was it 06, I think?
06. Good Lord.
Yeah. So not long after this. That's crazy.
Yeah. A relatively short time. Yeah. That is kind of interesting because the Brosnan era, 4 movies, they crammed those into 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the Daniel Craig era, which was 5 movies, so it was spread out over like 15.
Right.
And so it feels like Craig had more time to sort of, to really move into the joint.
Sure.
And we'll get into the movie, but I miss the days when we'd just be cranking these out, and each one didn't need to be the best one ever. It just needed to be the next one.
Right.
I kind of, that was my childhood, growing up in the 80s, and every couple of years we had another one. I would say it was a better time, but that's just me. That's old fuddy-duddy, Zachy.
Well, and then we can get into this, but yeah, these movies are a little more fanciful, the Brosnan ones, and so you can kind of, when they are a little more silly, like you're okay with that because that's what they're sort of aiming for in a way. Like, not silly, but fanciful is the word I would use. And I think there was, maybe more scrutiny with the Craig ones because they took themselves more seriously.
That's
and
right.
so if they did miss a step, it like stood out a little bit more or something, or felt like, well, I can't take this seriously, or this didn't work for me. This didn't connect. But I feel like it's easier to have more fun with the Brosnan ones. So when they do get a little over the top, you're like, oh, Bond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the analogy I've made before, and it's an imperfect one, but roll with me. I consider the Brosnan era of Bond as roughly comparable to the Burton Schumacher Batman, and then the Daniel Craig era as the Nolan Dark Knight films.
Totally, sure.
Sure. And then we can just sort of lump in. We can say that Roger Moore is like the that's Bill Dozier, Adam West Batman.
Right.
That kind of tracks. But hey, I think we'll have a fun discussion regardless. Certainly, I expect we're going to be getting a little nostalgic about our 1990s heyday.
Definitely.
So, hey, we're watching GoldenEye from 1995. If you want to watch along with us, you can do that. If not, we'll try to keep the discussion engaging for you, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready to go. How about you, Ryan?
I'm ready.
All right. So we'll do the usual thing. We will hit play on 3. So 1, 2, 3, play. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, play.
And I think worth calling out the opening logos. You and I had an experience where we started and stopped and started again on different media.
Yep.
And I watched it on a Blu-ray that had the Fox logo at the beginning, but the version we're watching right now at 0 is with the MGM lion and then the United Artists card here.
Which itself feels like it might be an out-of-date set of logos because I think they're using the CGI line now.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure. Yeah. See, I've owned the Bond films on enough formats over the years that I've seen all the ways they swap out the logos before the gun barrel.
Right. It's funny. Like Terminator 2, all the different over the years, the different logos at the beginning.
It's like the rings of a tree trunk, you know?
Yes.
So this bungee jump sequence here, it held the record at the time. I don't know if that record still stands as the highest bungee jump in history.
It looks like it. Look, we're huge Martin Campbell heads over here.
Yep.
Right. Man, does this guy know how to capture action and make it sizzle, you know? And he's not doing it with like a ton of, wild, out of this world CGI stuff crammed in the screen. You know, he's just taking like people jumping over tall ledges and making it, you grip your seat. Like he just, where he puts the camera, how long he holds on the guy jumping, and then the clever way that he lets the guy become obscured behind that rock so he can do his cut, probably because that was about when the rope was about to end. Like, it's just, I just marveled over and over at the way that this movie was captured visually. It's of its time, and I wish it's a time that would return. Just a real kineticism.
I marvel at the perfectly coiffed Pierce Brosnan do that they have on the stuntman.
Yes, but this is breathtaking.
Well, and pay attention here. This is what I think, because the bungee falls and the stuntman, he's got to get his gun out right before he gets obscured. So you got one shot to do that right.
Yes, it's so perfect. He's one of our best action directors, and he just never comes up in conversation.
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah.
But yeah, what a jump! You couldn't pay me.
It's also very 1990s. Like that's extremely mid 90s. That's like Poochie level of mid 90s.
They don't like really like hammer into it like some movies did. Like the Triple X series or whatever,
right?
Where it's like, I live my life to the extreme. Like extreme was such a thing. So much so that Poochie was like a riff on that on The Simpsons. Extreme character, but it is funny. I mean, there is a lot of very 90s things in this movie. Yeah, like it's depends on your definition of safe sex. And like like you're a misogynistic dinosaur. That's not PC. Like there's like a lot of like 90s buzzwords in this movie. Which is kind of funny.
One thing I want to point out. What I think this movie overall holds up pretty well. There's a few things that nudge me a little bit that I'll point out, but the music score has aged like milk for me. I think Eric Serra, who did the music, they brought him in to kind of do something a little different than the big orchestral stuff that was identified with the series, and I'm just like, man, what a miscalculation in my opinion.
Yeah, there are parts of it that give me the nostalgia tingles because I recognize it from the video game.
That's very true.
We'll have to get into, but there's that scene where Bond and Onatopp are like having their little car race.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
This is terrible.
It's really lousy. Yeah.
I read somewhere that the opening gun barrel sequence. Was used with CGI, so that was like the first CGI used in the Bond series.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's very sharp.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks fine. But entering a new era, I suppose. Which actually is a lot like a big theme of this movie, right? Like Cold War, post-Cold War.
Yeah, well, so that was something I wanted to bring up, is that this movie arrived after a 6-year gap, right? So License to Kill comes out in '89, and it didn't do great. It did all right, right? There's sort of this retrospective view that it was a big flop, and it wasn't. It ended up doing okay.
This one?
License to Kill.
Oh, License to Kill. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. This one was the opposite of a flop.
Yeah.
But the reason there was a big gap was because MGM got caught up in its perennial bankruptcy sale cycle,
Sure.
and the studio was in the process of being sold, and the person that it was being sold to was basically leveraging the television rights to the back catalog to get investors to finance the sale. It was real cockamamie stuff, And anyway, Albert Broccoli, who was still, he had his hand on the rudder for the Bond franchise, was like, you're not doing that, because you're gonna devalue these films, and you're gonna bring the studio down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he filed a lawsuit, and it just went back and forth. The plan had always been, however, to come back and do a third film with Timothy Dalton. In 1991, there was a script written. Timothy Dalton has talked about, they were talking to directors. It was that far enough,
Mm-hmm.
But all of this stuff put the kibosh on that, and then it went far enough along that Dalton was like, all right, like, I got to move on.
Right.
And Cubby Broccoli, this is interesting, because Cubby Broccoli was big on loyalty, and he was a big fan of Timothy Dalton. And so he convinced him, no, come on, man, just come back. And Dalton's like, all right, fine, I'll come back for one, just to wrap it up. And it had been long enough that Cubby Broccoli is like, well, you can't just come back for one. You got to do a couple more. And he didn't want to do that.
Now, here's why. Was it age, or was it?
I think he felt
opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I think he felt like, it's been at that point 5 years or so, and it's like, how many more of these, because you figure by then he probably thought he would be wrapping it up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. And I think he was like, do I want to be doing this for the next 5-6 years?
Mm-hmm.
I think the studio is more than happy to see him go, because they probably associated him with the movies not being successful.
Sure.
So, like, I think it's one of those things. I think the studio was like, oh no, don't go.
Right.
And so at that point, they move on to Brosnan, although, they went to other actors. But really, when you think about it, I mean, this was sort of an anointing. It was like this was the role he was destined to have,
It feels like he was in conversation for a long time, but when he was doing Remington Steele, did they think he was too young or something?
Well, he had gotten the role. He had been offered the role before The Living Daylights. Yeah. So Roger Moore leaves after View to a Kill. That was always going to be his last one. And at that point, when it came to The Living Daylights, they went to Timothy Dalton first. And he was doing a movie called Brenda Starr with Brooke Shields. So he wasn't able to do it. So then they go to Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan gets it. Pierce Brosnan had been on Remington Steele, and that show had just been canceled.
Okay.
So Remington Steele's over. And by the way, Pierce Brosnan had a history with Bond anyway, because his wife at the time was one of the love interests in For Your Eyes Only.
Right, I read that
in 1982, I think that was, or 81. So Brosnan gets the part. They're about to announce it, and then at that point, NBC is they canceled Remington Steele, but they have it's like a 90-day reversion clause.
Oh.
So NBC's like, hey, let's bring back Remington Steele, because he's going to have all this heat on him because of James Bond. And so at that point, Cubby Broccoli's like, well, James Bond isn't going to be on TV at the same time.
Right. Which, back in that time, TV was seen as sort of less than.
Yeah, less than, exactly.
To the theatrical,
right.
Yeah.
And so as Brosnan has told it, he was like on his way out the door to go to the big ceremony, when he's announced, and they're like, yeah, never mind.
Wow.
Which I can't even imagine, right?
I mean, has there ever been a guy who just seemed more suited for this?
I've said this. I'm like, it's like Pierce Brosnan was grown in a lab to play
Yes.
James Bond. You know?
Yeah, I was talking about this with some people saying that even if not all of his movies are my favorite Bonds, I think he's my favorite Bond because for me, he just personifies what I like to think of when I think of Bond. You know, suave, kind of got a smirk, but can handle the action. You know.
By the way, speaking of action, can we real quick talk about what an insanely stupid thing Bond just did here?
What a cool stunt, though. I mean,
it's an amazing stunt.
Well,
so
I mean,
the plane flies over the cliff. The plane is crashing. So Bond, genius that he is, races his bike off the cliff in hopes that he can catch up to the plane, get in the cockpit,
make his way to the seat. Yeah.
There's a lot of variables.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think that plane is a little lower in the sky than I would have liked if I were jumping toward it. But I was thinking, you know, that was one of the major stunts in the second to last Mission Impossible movie at this point. Cruise jumping, you know, off the cliff on his motorcycle. I was like, well, look, they're doing it right here. I'd forgotten about it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's an amazing stunt.
So it says Albert R. Broccoli presents. This is the last film that will say Albert R. Broccoli presents because, of course, he died shortly after this one came out. He had mainly a tertiary role in this one because by this point, Michael G. Wilson, his stepson, and Barbara Broccoli, his daughter, had taken over the running of the ship. After this, all the ones from this to No Time to Die say Albert R. Broccoli's Eon Productions presents.
That's a nice way to keep his.
His kids wanted to continue honoring him. So just to wrap a bow around what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
So Brosnan gets the call. Sorry, no dice. At that point, it's been delayed long enough that Timothy Dalton becomes available. He accepts. The rest is history. And Dalton, it's worth mentioning, he had been offered the gig back in the late 60s. So for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the one that George Lazenby got. So he had been on Albert Broccoli's radar for a while. And he said in the 60s, he's like, I'm not fermented enough to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it before. I say it as often as I can. Timothy Dalton is a great James Bond who does not get the credit he deserves. And I think it's a goddamn shame that between 89 and 95, we didn't get at least a couple more Daltons before we moved on to Brosnan.
Well, in this day and age, you know, with the things going on in movies right now, what are the odds that we get a multiverse James Bond movie like Spider-Man No Way Home, where all the Bonds show up and like, you know, I was just never felt like I was really appreciated. Like, hey, you know, Brosnan's to Dalton, you're enough, you know, and then, and then they all work together. You know, that would be insane and probably very stupid, but there's a little part of me that would enjoy that.
You know, well, I definitely, you know, I wouldn't mind a Bond, like a sunset Bond with Brosnan, you know, who's in his early 70s at this point. I certainly feel like there's a market for that, you know.
I would love it.
You know, for all the my qualms about Amazon just gobbling up the remainder of the rights, you know, and you know the Broccolis being out of the picture, you know, the cynical view is they're gonna just spin off the shit out of it, you know. But like that's one thing that I would be at least amenable to, you know.
Yeah. Well, and just through a little research I did, some of the people who are considered, just to place this in time.
Well, real quick, just before we move on, I wanted to mention the song "GoldenEye," performed by Tina Turner, written by Bono and The Edge. It's one of the great Bond songs, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised. I watched all the way through the credits, and I knew it was Tina Turner, but when I saw that it was written by Bono and The Edge, I was like, what? And I don't know if this is true, but I was reading that they're, you know, all three were neighbors in the south of France, and they went over to Tina's place and started playing the song on, you know, her piano, and I was like, as you do.
And she's belting it out like Shirley Bassey in those early Sean Connery ones, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, yeah, but just placing it in time, the people who are also considered for Bond, Liam Neeson, Mel Gibson, I guess.
Mel Gibson, as was the fashion at the time.
Exactly. Right. Sam Neill, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Well, Sam Neill, he auditioned for The Living Daylights. and I'm sure he was considered for this one, but he said as much about Living Daylights that he said, like, I knew when I did the audition I wasn't going to get it, but you can watch it. It's on YouTube, and he's
really
good. Yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't have minded him as James Bond,
That's interesting. And
Yeah.
Hugh Grant was another name, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's
Rafe
kinda-
Fiennes, I know, was in the mix also.
Yeah, right.
Who of course
eventually-
became M.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I gotta say, you have those sort of like sexy, artistic, impressionistic, whatever openings, right?
Yeah.
Credit sequences, and I just found it funny. It's like these naked women with like mallets,
breaking the symbols of communism.
exactly. these falling sickles from the sky, and they're like, like hitting them with mallets.
I feel like this might be the last time it was just straight up, just naked women, just being all naked.
right. Like guns, like just kind of coming out of their mouths. Almost feels like something like a Simpsons riff on a Bond opening or something. This made me laugh too. I'd forgotten about this. So it's like this sexy race between Bond and Onatopp, on this like mountain road. And then they do this hard cut to like, but there's a whole group of bicyclists coming up the other way. Which actually kind of made me mad at our hero. I was like, dude, you really shouldn't be driving like this.
Yeah.
Like, people could get hurt. I guess Martin Campbell is one of them.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually. That's interesting.
Yeah. But they handle it well. And it's funny too, I was thinking about screenwriting, and it's one thing for him to be driving and to see this woman and them to have this sexy, challenging race with one another. But it's a whole other thing to add something on top of it. It's like, oh, he's having like a psych evaluation.
Right.
As he's doing this and being evaluated for being crazy. And through doing this, he still manages to seduce her. So like a lot of things are happening in this scene, which is, what I mean? They're using it to its fullest potential, which I think is fun.
Now definitely, and we've talked about this before, with the whole Bond persona, but I find this slightly ick,
Oh, totally. I mean, totally. I mean, this is like the older Bond, where it's just like, I will seduce you.
Yeah, I mean, this movie makes a choice to lean into it, which I think is interesting because during the Dalton films, they made an active effort to make him less of a creepy pervert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's a little more monogamous, and certainly in the Living Daylights. And I just find it funny because I feel like that's probably aged better,
I've never seen the Dalton ones. I should mention that. I started going through all of them, and then I fell off at some point, and I will get back to it, but I hadn't made it to those yet. This was my first Bond movies. This is where I started back in the day.
See, so that they say that your first Bond is your patient zero,
Yeah.
So that certainly tracks. Dalton was my first, right?
Ah, okay.
Because I had seen Moonraker. So technically Moonraker's the first, but like when the Living Daylights came out, that was the first time I experienced the switchover, and I was aware of the hype, and I I imprinted on him like a baby raptor.
Sure.
but I have said honestly, if you like the Craig movies, then watch the Timothy Dalton ones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. This is making me ready to go back.
Yeah. Because I think what Brosnan embodies is sort of a mix of the previous three. Let's just put George Lazenby to one side. Sorry, George. Where a little bit more of the the seriousness of Dalton is woven in, and that's something Brosnan wanted more of. But more of the quips, like Moore and Connery. I think I can't remember who it is, but somebody talked about how when it comes to James Bond actors, there's Sean Connery and everybody else, and it's sort of like, and then you rank everyone else, however, but Sean Connery has to go first.
Sure.
And yeah, we people listening to this can agree or disagree, but I think what that's meant to say is that Connery defined what we expect from the character,
right?
And so different actors plug into different aspects of whatever Connery did.
Sure. Yeah.
you know, and so I remember the Siskel and Ebert review of this film where Gene Siskel was not a fan at all. He was not having it, and his sort of contention was that he felt like Brosnan was sort of play acting as James Bond, you know.
Okay.
And I can understand that, I suppose. Like, if
I understand. I believe that he could feel that way.
Right, that's what if you're coming at it from, well, Sean Connery is the shining city on the hill. Here's this guy trying to pretend he's like Sean Connery, you know?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that because I think we've had so many different actors that everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That said, I think this movie, as I was watching it last night, the one note I made and I underlined was throat clearing. I feel like this movie is full of throat clearing where they're trying to situate James Bond in this era after the 6-year gap and be like, no, James Bond is still relevant. So they have to hang a lampshade on his various peccadillos that were just sort of taken for granted.
Yeah, M kind of calls him out for things that you could imagine critics calling him out for. And then you get the rest of the movie of him being like proving her wrong, or at least establishing his place, like you say.
Exactly, right? So when M has that sit down, you can imagine her being like, you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, you know? And then later when we see Joe Don Baker, you Brits and your passwords, or, you know?
Right.
So it's throat clearing throughout. And I feel it feels, honestly, like by about 2/3 of the way through, I was like, okay, just stop.
Yeah. We got it.
We get it.
We're happy to be here. We showed up.
Exactly. Right. Right. And that's kind of the interesting thing about the Bond film. It's kind of like Superman, I guess, to some extent, where it feels like every decade or so they have to like remind people why they're relevant.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, well, you don't really need to, because at this point we go to see Bond movies because we go to see Bond movies and we know what we're getting, you know?
Yeah, and I don't remember how much the Craig movies actually did any meta conversations with the audience about that, but they definitely did try to, you know, be of the moment, where it's like, you know, we talk about like the Batman Begins-ification of superhero movies and movies in that moment, where it's like, no, even if it's about a superhero, it has to be grounded in some sort of reality.
Yeah.
So we don't lose you. You know, you have to take this deadly serious.
Yeah.
And the Craig films definitely feel from that era. Maybe for me, sometimes too much so.
I agree with that.
I want to have like a little more fun, although I do enjoy those movies. But yeah, for me, I mean, maybe because this is where I began, I do like the bad puns and innuendos, and I like, but I like that the stakes are serious,
right?
But there's also, you know, a watch with a laser in it.
There's sort of a caper feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is for me the perfect mix.
Yeah, well, you know, just to pick up on what you're saying about the Craig films, I in my opinion, you know, I think those movies lingered too long in the very serious part of the waiting pool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, where my preference would have been after Skyfall. Okay, you did your 3, you got your Bond origin. Now let's do some, you know, world conquering bad guy type stuff. You know,
yeah, like you said, capers.
Yeah. You know, and I think that underscores why the series has lasted as long as it has, is because it is that. It's like you show up, you enjoy it for what it is. You don't spend too much time thinking about it, and then you come back in a couple of years and we do it again. We get to see Bond walk through the gun barrel, and that's they're weirdly, the disposability of it makes it worth hanging on to.
Sure.
You know,
I love that they can be, you know, evocative of their time period.
Yep.
You know, like this feels very 90s, and I dig that about it.
As Famke Janssen is crushing this dude to death.
See, this is funny. I mean, it's ridiculous, maybe even like kind of cringy, but I also kind of dig it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, like her thing is she can squeeze a guy to death with her thighs. Like, that's, I don't know. Like, that's like right where I like these, where I enjoy these movies, that kind of, but it's taking it it's filming it very seriously.
Right.
You know what I mean? it's a sweet spot for me, I think. And by the way, I as long as I mention it almost every commentary, I love when they do little light flourishes to make all the backgrounds interesting. I always use Ridley Scott as an example. And in that scene where she's on top of him, because they're in a boat, you have that water reflection behind her on the ceiling. So it's just making the whole frame feel alive and in motion. And it's great. Campbell.
Yeah, well, Martin Campbell was coming off of No Escape when he made this movie,
which you keep recommending to me.
I'm telling you, you got a fun movie. I mean, it's not going to change your life, but it's like a fun couple hours, you know?
Yeah.
But also, he had done a lot of television. He did what's it called, Edge of Darkness.
Oh, this, by the way, this is I like this. Beat the guy up with a towel, then wipe the sweat off your brow with it. Like that's what I'm hoping we have ahead with the new Bond.
Well, also what he's wearing. You talk about,
yes,
man, he got like this double-breasted thing with the gold buttons and stuff. It's like he looks like preppy, you know.
You know what's funny is, by the way, so yeah, he's wearing like a blue suit coat with like khaki pants, and whatever. Which
and he had the ascot in the previous scene, which we didn't even we talked right past that.
But what I like is in One Battle After Another, I think something that I called out, Sean Penn's character throughout the ages, whenever he dresses up, he wears the same thing. And it weirdly makes you feel bad for him or makes him seem a little sad. And this is what he's wearing. He's wearing a blue blazer coat with khaki pants. Wow. So it's like he's like a man out of time. Like maybe that was something that was, like it, in the 90s.
This guy died with a smile on his face, which is pretty funny, I thought.
But then through the decades, he keeps wearing the same thing. So it's fun. Yeah, like I thought of that when I saw Bond here in the 90s wearing that, where this was the moment where it was like a thing, Yeah,
it was acceptable.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that is funny. The guy falling down. And
see, there is something odd about the pacing of this movie that stuck out to me, where like it's like a good 40-45 minutes before the plot really kicks into gear in terms of Bond, here's your mission.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
One of those guys is the bungee jump guys. The stunt guy.
I believe the guy on the left,
Yeah. Am I wrong? And then one of them is Simon Crane, the stunt guy, coordinator? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
By the way, this random trivia that I thought was worth bringing up, I'm just going to read it straight up because I won't be able to recount it perfectly. But I thought this was interesting. So going back to the Baccarat scene or whatever they were playing earlier. So License to Kill back in 1989, they had a contest where the winner of the contest was promised a cameo role in the next James Bond movie.
Okay.
Which unfortunately that didn't get made for several years. But the contest winner was brought into this movie. They remembered her and actually brought her in. And she is behind Famke Janssen wearing a gold and black evening gown. You can see her clearly. And I was like, how cool. Like they didn't forget about her. She won that contest and she did get to be in the next James Bond movie.
That's something.
Yeah. I feel like you don't hear things like that anymore, these contest winners, and you get a walk-on role in some sort of film or TV show.
Recently, somebody asked James Gunn about that online.
Really?
Because back in the day, during the 80s, when you had Superman 3, Superman 4, DC Comics would do this thing like, a contest to get a role in the next Superman movie.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, James Gunn, you should do something like this. And he said there's too many logistical hurdles because like what constitutes a role and it is the person owed a certain amount of screen time, and it's like too many boxes that need to be checked that it's just not worth the hassle.
I can see that. Isn't it that makes sense?
Yeah.
And at the same time, like what a bummer. Everything's just become so much
right.
Just so complicated. It's like I just want to like stand 4 people behind Superman and see my face on screen,
See my face on screen. That's it. So Alan Cumming, first time I ever saw him was in this movie.
Same.
Pretty great British, a Russian accent.
Yeah, I think.
Or pretty great screen version of a Russian accent.
Yeah.
Isabella Scorupco, she's 25 in this movie. So I always do. I do.
I looked up everybody, as I do.
Yeah, Brosnan was 42, I think, here.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Isabella Scorupco in this movie. I know that at the time it came out, there's all this hype, like she's like a new modern Bond woman, whatever. I'm like, I don't know, man. Same new boss, same as the old boss kind of thing for me. I find the character grating personally.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know that she, like, I just accept it.
She
I don't
doesn't
know
stand out to me.
that's literally what I was going to say. I don't know that she stands out per se, but she has a function. She's featured for quite a while before she meets Bond, which is kind of interesting.
Like way too long. I think all of this business, like, I feel like they should have intercut this with the stuff that was going on with Bond, trying to track the helicopter and stuff, intercut back and forth so that it moves up the rest of the stuff.
It's a good note. Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
One thing I wanted to point out actually is that, the prologue is set 9 years before the rest of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1995, and then that means the prologue is 1986, which, if you think about it, 1986 is when Brosnan was offered the role originally and then rescinded. So in essence, the movie is sort of like retconning, like, oh, it was always Pierce Brosnan.
That's kind of funny.
I don't know if that was by design, but I did find that amusing.
Yeah. By the way, so there's so many things that I remember all the way back to seeing this in the theater, and him, Alan Cumming, being like, I am invincible, and then being frozen. That was something I never forgot.
Yeah. So did you go see this with your dad?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't recall, but probably. I remember he's always been a Bond guy, and I do remember him really enjoying this one. Something I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't realize. See, this is, I should say too, I think it's clear now, but you're a big Bond aficionado. And I was excited to watch this and kind of just have my random thoughts, but listen to you, drop some knowledge on this. And I was looking forward to being like, oh, Papa Zaki, you're so learned. And you've been great.
To disappoint.
No, you've been great so far. But so I was surprised to learn that this is the first James Bond movie that was not based on an Ian Fleming novel or short story.
Well, that's not entirely true.
I was going to say, that seems there's a lot of films that came before this. So Well,
I believe License to Kill is the first one that doesn't have any. It's not pulled from any source material.
Okay, or maybe the thing I'm looking at says without any reference. So maybe there's a technicality somehow, but the story itself, the plot.
Yeah, so
original.
So up to Living Daylights, every movie's at least title came from Fleming.
Okay.
Like The Spy Who Loved Me has no connection to the book, but there is a Fleming work called The Spy Who Loved Me.
Okay.
Living Daylights 2 is a Fleming title. License to Kill is the first time it wasn't a Fleming title.
I see.
GoldenEye, it's called that because that was the estate in Jamaica where Fleming used to write his Bond books.
Right.
And it's just a little nod to that. And it's a very Bond title.
Totally. And it was in that title I read comes from some sort of contingency plan that the Secret Intelligence Service had back in the day when Fleming was a part of that. Yeah,
Fleming was like a real life James Bond.
Yeah. And cool. In case the Nazis invaded Spain, that was a contingency plan they had called GoldenEye.
So this here, so Famke Janssen orgasming as she fires the machine gun, that feels very of the moment of 1995. Yeah. But 30 years later, you're like, it's kind of silly.
It's silly. I actually find it very disturbing, to be honest.
Right.
Again, her squeezing people to death.
Well, but I love how the camera whips to Godfrey John and we get his reaction, or he's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I know. I do appreciate that. But it's like, like seeing all these dead bodies on the floor and her getting off on it. It's like,
yeah,
like
it's there is kind of a try hard, like we're keeping pace with your True Lies and your
Right. Oh,
Your
which is weird to think
cliffhangers
that
or
was a
whatever.
year before this.
True Lies. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Bond folks were looking at um, something like True Lies succeeding and having to question like, okay, does business as usual work anymore for what we do?
Sure.
That is weird, right? Like 6 years, big picture isn't that long, right? But yet geopolitically, between 89 and 95, a lot had happened,
Yeah. Right.
and so it's weird how the Bond films have to sort of account for that. I think I've said this before, but in 2002 when Die Another Day came out, the movie starts with him being taken prisoner in North Korea for something like 18 months. And when he's released, he comes across the CIA character played by Michael Madsen, and he's just like, a lot happened out here when you were inside.
Mm.
And I felt like that was a way of acknowledging, like, oh, Bond wasn't around for 9/11,
Oh, interesting.
right?
Yeah, interesting. Huh.
You know?
I've seen GoldenEye several times, but the others maybe only once.
Well, hey, hopefully, we're beginning a new journey together here
Yeah, no, I'd love it.
to come back to these every couple of years.
Going back to the 90s-ness of it, I read that Ace of Base at one point was tapped to do the theme.
Oh my God,
Isn't that wild to think about?
That's hard for me to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they wrote something and it didn't get used, but they changed the lyrics and released it as one of their own songs years later. But
Really? It was like,
Ace of Base.
I saw the eye and it opened up my...
They're like, we gave you 6 months to write this song. What were you thinking? Yes, it's really catchy, but...
So, by the way, apparently this is the first movie that explicitly refers to Bond's organization as MI6.
Oh, interesting.
Like up to this point, it's always just been, Her Majesty's Secret Service. So MI6 is made up. MI5 is a real thing,
right?
They also in this one here. See, this is what I mean about throat clearing, where you've got Moneypenny being like, "You can't flirt with me, James, because I'm a modern woman,"
Right.
And it's like it's like after the throat clearing was over, they just forgot about all that, because by Die Another Day, we have a scene where Moneypenny has like a VR headset on and she's imagining Bond like doing it with her on her desk.
Right? I remember that. Yeah.
So,
well, it's like they have to like acknowledge it. So it's like, yeah, we know, but you like it. It's kind of what it feels like they're doing.
So that's Samantha Bond as Miss Moneypenny.
No
relation.
Yeah. That's funny though.
And this Michael Kitchen here as Bill Tanner. So Tanner's a character in the Daniel Craig films. He's played by Rory Kinnear.
Yeah, you're right though. But the plot is kicking in here, and we're 38 minutes in.
Right. Yeah. And literally, we're looking at about 45, 50 before M is like, I want you to, like find GoldenEye, which like that would be minute 20.
Yeah.
So there is something weird about the pacing that stuck out to me, and I don't know if that's just after 30 years of familiarity you start noticing this stuff, but
I've been enjoying myself, but I agree with you that you could up the urgency a bit.
Yeah. Because the GoldenEye explosion, I mean, it hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So in this film, M, Judi Dench's first time as M, is new. So she's a replacement for Miles Messervy M, who was played by Robert Brown in he was in License to Kill. And so she is new and Bond is an old hand. And then in Casino Royale, of course, she's a veteran and Bond is new. So that's what some folks are like, oh, see, this proves that Bond is just an like an identity that's passed on from one person to the next,
Right.
which is a friggin' goddamn stupid fan theory that refuses to die.
Right.
Right? Like, it's dumb. It's like, no, the number gets passed on. Why would the identity get passed on?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I hadn't even thought of this character super critically. Like, I think this really endears me to her, actually. The fact that she's like this, lone survivor in this horrible massacre. I don't know.
I think for me, I don't sense a real connection with her and Bond.
Yes.
And the
That I agree with.
The movie's trying to position her as sort of blazing some new trail when it comes to Bond women, and I don't really see that. I mean, granted, during the Brosnan era, we got Denise Richards.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, compared to her, Isabel Scorupco is like Jane Goodall, right? But the character didn't do very much for me. I don't know.
No, I get you. I could imagine her popping a little bit more, but I just feel like she gets things to do. She feels critical, in ways which are good. By the way, cartoon lightning.
Let's hear it for the cartoon lightning. Let's hear it for these practical effects that you were talking about. Miniatures. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Meddings, who did the effects for this, he had been Bond veteran. He died like 6 months after the movie came out, which is a shame because these effects are fantastic. They still hold up.
I was going to say, I read that there was a crap ton of miniatures, and that one with the plane kind of skidding along the ground.
Yep.
That's the only one to me that I clocked as a miniature.
Yep.
But otherwise, not at all. It looks fantastic.
And I think it helps the movie remain somewhat ageless,
Mm-hmm.
I think that for a long time, what distinguished the Bond films in terms of stunts and everything was that you have a real person doing it. It doesn't have to be the actual guy, but it's a human being who's doing it. And in Die Another Day, that was the first time we got like digital stunt doubles, and it looked friggin' awful.
Mm.
And I remember
Is that like
thinking,
the surfing thing?
The surf, yeah. See, yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember thinking at the time, well, was it worth it?
Mm.
Was it worth it to throw away the one thing that sort of distinguished you guys?
I know it's hard to imagine, but it makes me think of the second Matrix film, where they had those digital body doubles, and I remember them touting them, like showing them off, like, this is the future. You won't believe this. This is how we get to have a fight with 100 Mr. Smiths and Neos and stuff. And at the time, I'm sure it did feel revolutionary, but it's hard for those things to age well because you just continue to refine and refine and refine over the years,
Right. Yeah, because right around Die Another Day and Matrix 2, you had Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, and same thing, right? I mean, okay, granted, there's no real way to make that work with an actor, but I think when you watch the first Spider-Man, for me at least, it sticks out immediately once Tobey Maguire becomes a cartoon character,
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, look, I mean, you've got hardworking technicians doing the best they can with what was available at the time, but sometimes limitations are your ally.
Yeah, and it's all about using all those things in concert with one another, right?
That's right.
For the perfect, believable outcome. I mean, you see the footage of the upcoming Spider-Man movie. I don't know what it's called, but 4, let's call it. Brand New Day. And you see all this behind the scenes footage people are capturing of this giant rig where they have, I assume it's a stuntman in a Spider-Man suit actually swinging through the streets, right? And I think that will work amazingly coupled with shots with a digital body double, so some of them will get maybe like a nuance of like it's a close-up or something. So we'll see it move like a real human body. And then when we have a wider shot, you can go to like a digital double, and that might be the perfect combination finally.
Right. Well, when I think of technology from the turn of the century, you look at like the Lord of the Rings films. And I think what Jackson did there very smartly was he employed miniatures, bigatures, and CGI together. And those movies, they hold up extraordinarily.
Yeah.
You know?
By the way, that whole EMP sequence that we saw, I was reading that in earlier drafts, basically it just played out like an EMP, just shutting down all the electronic devices, but they found ways to kind of amp it up. It's like, well, no, then, you know, the planes crash into this and this thing would fall over into that. And I thought they did a good job of heightening that as much as possible, other than just having people like, why doesn't my watch work?
Yeah.
You know, you know,
I definitely remember this movie being my first exposure to the concept of an EMP.
Probably me too.
So I'm like, well, I definitely don't want to get caught in an EMP. I know that.
Yep.
So, quicksand and EMPs. Those are my late 90s fears.
Yeah, things that you feel like you would encounter more in your life, but you haven't. It's kind of surprising. Or maybe EMPs are just harder to wield. I don't know. But it feels like
I don't know the protocols that are necessary.
Yeah, kind of like Batman, right? Doesn't he have kind of like an EMP gun in Dark Knight Rises, and he's in that parking garage, and it just feels like that's something we would see people use to rob banks or something by now. Not that I'm giving people ideas. Or if I am, include me. It was my idea.
Well, if you're going to set up the plan, you don't have to go along, you think you're going to get any of it, then I know why they call you the Joker.
Right. I know why they call him the Joker. I love the way that they talk like they're cartoon characters in that opening.
Oh,
it's just so heightened for a movie that isn't very heightened at all. The way that they like talk behind those masks.
See, I think just to tie it back to Bond, right? I think Batman in the 90s was very much trying to be James Bond. Right. In the sense that, actors come and go, but the franchise continues. And I do find it amusing that both made the decision at roughly the same time to just do a hard reboot,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Bond films were trendsetters only at the earliest stage of their existence. And then they sort of became cultural wallpaper. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that, they didn't have the immediacy of I don't know what of like the pop culture phenoms that burned white hot for a minute or two before they faded away.
Sure.
So, for example, Rambo was huge in the mid 80s.
Right.
But by the late 80s, Rambo had already burnt out. And I think by that time, what the Bond folks figured out is slow and steady, man. Just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, and the reinvention seems to work. I mean, this was the first Bond movie to gross over 100 million domestically.
Yep.
Over 300 million worldwide. And then, there's maybe a little diminishing returns after this. But then when the Craig one happens, then that one comes out of the gate strong. And you know what I mean? Like they keep the reinvigoration always seems to work for them.
I think Brosnan has the unique distinction that each of his movies made more than the last.
Did they really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I had that wrong. Or at least in terms of reception, though. Weren't they a little bit more? Yeah.
Reception. I would offer, and maybe this is controversial. Maybe folks listening will disagree. Personally, I think Tomorrow Never Dies is a stronger movie than this one. That's just my opinion. But his movies are of variable quality, but he's never bad in them, Brosnan. I think that helps a lot. And I feel I've said this before that he should have gotten at least one more. He should have been able to rap on his terms. I think he deserved that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Here's Checky Cario as Secretary Mishkin. He was the bad guy in Bad Boys, same year.
Oh.
And as we record this, he just passed away about a month ago. Yeah.
Oh, funny. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. He was also in The Patriot,
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a movie I haven't seen in a long time.
So the in the initial drafts, this character, Secretary Mishkin, was written to be General Pushkin, who was a character in The Living Daylights, played by John Rhys Davies.
Okay.
But I think as they went on, they were probably, they probably wanted to make the connections less overt between the films.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think there's this unfair sense of like, oh, the Dalton era is just a big failure. We just want to ignore it, which is a shame. I would have liked to see more connections, but it's not like there's always been strong continuity between the Bond movies anyway.
Sure. Well, it's hard too, because I mean, in the moment, maybe you make harsher decisions.
Yeah.
Feeling some sort of scrutiny or something. But like, yeah, when we can look at these 30 years later as more of a whole, you think like, oh, it'd be nice if this connected. This could connect.
Yeah.
If they had been willing to take that risk.
Call it Force Awakens syndrome. Where we don't want to acknowledge the prequels in any way. Yeah.
Right. But now you're like, oh, it would have been nice if they had acknowledged the prequels.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We just saw real quick Michael G. Wilson.
Yeah.
One of the people there. He has a cameo in every movie. Oh gosh. I don't know if his cameo started with this one. I don't think they did. But
I read somewhere it goes all the way back to Goldfinger.
Oh, as a little kid?
Is that right?
He would have been like a teenager, right, when Goldfinger came out.
I don't know, because then it said he wrote screenplays for a couple.
Later, right? Like into the 80s. Like he co-wrote, I believe, License to Kill. So Desmond Llewellyn as Q, his appearance here makes him the only cast member to carry over. He started in For Your Eyes Only.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, From Russia with Love. He started.
Okay.
So Q was played by a different actor in the first film,
right?
And then Desmond Llewellyn came in with From Russia with Love, and it's interesting because Q gets older, Bond gets older, then younger.
yeah, it's interesting the decisions of what to carry over and what not.
I mean, I think had they not brought Desmond Llewellyn back, I think a lot of folks would have been sad because he was so beloved in the role,
Right.
But his relationship with Connery was very sort of contemptuous, his relationship with the Connery Bond, I should say.
The Connery Bond. Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I'm sure the actors got along fine, but like it was like 007.
Yeah.
Don't joke about my work kind of thing. And by the time we get to Brosnan, it's almost like a mentor relationship,
Yeah.
His last appearance was in The World Is Not Enough, and that's the one that introduces John Cleese as his associate who's going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
And Bond is telling Q like, well, you're not retiring, are you? And he's like, I've always tried to teach you two things, and I'm like, is this very heartfelt mentor moment,
Mm.
And it's weird because that film, World Is Not Enough, functions as a somewhat emotional goodbye for the character, but it wasn't intended to be that. He had planned to come back. He died in a car accident shortly after that movie came out.
Wow. That's cool. I love the comedy happening in the background here too.
Yeah, it's so funny. Now this right here where he says, "Don't touch that. That's my lunch." The cut is very weird. Like, it doesn't it feel like the cut?
It's very fast,
right? Like that seems like a joke. You'd have like a split second to hold on that joke.
You know what's funny? I actually spent time thinking about it when I watched this the other night, and I wondered if it's like they wanted the, you know what I mean? Like if they lingered on it, it might slightly deflate it. But if it's a really hard punch, that's my lunch, then you just kind of laugh and move on quickly or something.
But, if the goal of the edit is invisibility, I think they failed there.
It does. You're right. It does call attention to itself a little bit.
There's another moment like that later when Natalia meets Boris at the church. I had that same reaction where the edit was very odd to me. I'll point it out.
Call that out, yeah. By the way, I looked up out of curiosity because I was like, I want to get this right. Michael G. Wilson, yeah, he was in Goldfinger.
Yeah,
He's
probably
a
as like a teenager though.
soldier at Fort Knox.
Okay.
He has all these roles like Spy Who Loved Me, Man in Audience at Pyramid Theater.
Yeah.
For Your Eyes Only, Greek Priest at Wedding, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So for those listening who don't know, so Michael G. Wilson, who from this point until No Time to Die was the co-producer of the series, he was Albert Broccoli's stepson.
Hmm.
And so he had been brought into essentially the family business very early. And it is extraordinary how this really was the family business, and this big behemoth of a franchise, and yet it was closely held by this small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Don Baker, this is the same year he was being Evil McEvilman in Congo.
Right.
He was also the villain in The Living Daylights.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they did that a lot in the Bond films, that they would just bring folks back and have them play different roles.
Huh.
Now this character Jack Wade feels very, very Felix Leiter.
I was expecting him to be Felix Leiter.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting because Brosnan is the only Bond, other than Lazenby, who doesn't get a Felix Leiter, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering why, and then I realized, well, at the end of License to Kill, Felix has lost a leg because he was, due to the events in that film. So maybe he's just laid up,
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, they could have had a prosthetic or something. But regardless, he's essentially playing the Felix role.
Yeah, right.
And he shows up in Tomorrow Never Dies also.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that too. The whole "Hey Jimbo,"
Yep,
kind of thing, which is fun. Like I like that because it's like in Bond's world, he is the coolest, sexiest, whatever guy. But it's just funny to see someone enter his orbit.
Yep,
and it's like, "Oh, what's up, Jimbo?"
Yep.
It's not like the whole world is this cool, sexy place. Oh, okay. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just between this and Congo. I was thinking, that's the character actor's life. It's not a bad life if you're a working actor.
Oh man,
you get plugged in, you play a certain type, and
yeah,
people know what to expect from you.
I thought this was funny, the way that she needs to get on the internet and she has to do this whole elaborate ruse.
Yeah,
where it's like just, Right. I mean, I probably didn't even have an email address when this movie came out. So it's, the internet was still sort of a exotic thing, I suppose.
Yeah, now it would be like any given internet cafe.
Yeah, or even she probably wouldn't, her character, but you could just steal a phone, or something.
Well, this really, when you think about it, this was the first film in the Bond series that, utilized computers as a device in your home and the internet as like part of the story. The whole final plot involves, electronic transfers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Back then it was like a whole new thing.
I mean, it's this is the same year that Sandra Bullock movie, The Net, came out.
That's right.
Where she's like a weirdo for being obsessed with the internet. And I didn't have the internet at the time that movie came out. And I just believed, or actually, I think I remember finding it a little silly, like, oh, she can do all this stuff with her computer. I'll never forget 1995 being in the theater, watching her order a pizza over her computer and thinking that was silly. And now
like,
I literally
listen, writers, if you're not taking this seriously, I'm out of here.
I'm out. Yeah. Yeah. But it's ahead of its time in some ways.
I think the most unbelievable part of that movie is that the movie, they want you to think Sandra Bullock is some freaking weirdo.
Yeah, some frumpy homebody. Yeah. Ew, her, kind of character for all those people in that movie. And it's like, what?
She's a regular Laney Boggs.
Yes. Ooh, but take those glasses off. Have you seen her? She's all that. Wait, I'm excited. Where's I want to see this cut.
I don't know. It strikes me as because she's here at the church to meet Boris, right?
Yeah.
And there's because at this point we don't know that he's one of the baddies.
Yep.
We know he's a bad person because he makes sexist comments and whatever.
Right.
Oh, but so and by the way, Isabella Scorupco, she was in Vertical Limit, also directed by Martin Campbell.
Ah. Okay.
So right here, look at this. So right here, and then Xenia Onatopp comes up,
Uh-huh.
and then that's it. It's a weird. It's too sudden. We don't sit with that for a second.
You know, I wonder if maybe there was more to it, and then they just.
I feel like we needed to cut to a reaction on Boris or on her.
Sure.
Like she turns, she looks at Boris. We get a oneer on him, where he's like kind of evil smile, and then we cut something like that.
I totally see what you're saying. I do wonder. I wonder if that scene might have gone on for like 3 more minutes. It
feels like they didn't get something usable or whatever.
This is so random.
Mini Driver.
Yeah. I mean, this is before I was aware of her. I don't really, early in her career, let's say, but
yeah,
such a interesting cameo. Right. And I think I read that that's not even her voice singing.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Was this before that movie? What was it called? Circle of Friends with Chris O'Donnell?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look
that up, actually.
Good Will Hunting's 2 years, I think, after this.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting is 97.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think maybe it wasn't even a cameo. It was just she's a working actor and just needs a part,
I guess that's one of those things, right? Where now I'm familiar with her in a different way.
So Circle of Friends was the same year. It was earlier this year.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
I remember the TV spots. That was back when like Chris O'Donnell was being positioned as the next big thing.
Right.
And then Batman ruined his career for a little while. He did okay. He did 15 seasons on one of them NCIS shows. So
yeah. He found his groove.
And I think he's on a 911 show now, so he's doing all right.
Oh man, that's becoming one of those sort of CSI, NCIS,
right?
Whatever sorts of shows, right? Like there's so many spin-offs of it, and you get all these actors: Rob Lowe, Jennifer Love Hewitt, those kinds of people.
Get thee to a procedural. I say it all the time.
Yep.
So Robbie Coltrane as Valentin Zukovsky, the late Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd forgotten that he passed away.
Same.
He would, of course, go on to become beloved to several generations as Hagrid.
Yep.
But he came back for The World Is Not Enough. And I do like that with these films, with certainly during the Brosnan era, they did try to have little bits of connective tissue to show that he has a supporting cast.
Yep. I like that. Build out the world a little bit.
I think it helps. Because one thing that always bugged me about the earlier films is that even though Felix Leiter appears in, probably 2/3 of them, it's a different actor every single time. It's real weird, because that's one of those things. Like for me, during the Daniel Craig era, I liked that Felix is in 3 of those 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so when his character dies in No Time to Die, it means something a little bit,
Yeah.
Because we built up that relationship,
It is interesting, the continuity of this series, isn't it? Like the certain things, like the actors that carry over, characters that carry over, but then certain things get recast or, reinvented, or there really isn't like a consistency to it.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that I think people trying to pin an exact chronology on the Bond series are just asking to just get a hole in the head, like
right.
You're going to create a singularity where everything gets sucked in, because I don't think you're meant to think that deeply about it.
I was going to say, I feel like that's something more recent in the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people always fans or obsessives or whatever, I'm sure, throughout the day, but they didn't have the internet to converse or feel like they were legion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, or
that they could influence and make the filmmakers feel bad about their decision making. That
is new. That's unfortunately that is new and bad.
Yeah.
But like in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is the first one without Sean Connery, right? That's George Lazenby.
Mm-hmm.
The first scene, we have an action sequence, and then the girl runs away. She drives away. Lazenby Bond watches her drive away and says, "Well, this never happened to the other fella," right?
Right.
And to me, I'm like, "Oh, that's funny."
Right.
And it's clearly the filmmakers are like, do we want to explain this? Do we want to say Bond had plastic surgery? Or no, let's just hang a lampshade on it, crack a joke, and move on.
Right.
To me, it's like in Iron Man 2 when the first time we see Don Cheadle as Rhodey, and Tony goes up to him and says, "Hey, I didn't expect to see you here." And Rhodey says, "Hey, it's me. I'm here. Let's deal with it. Move on."
Right.
That's a perfect way to handle it, right?
Right.
And so anybody who takes Lazenby's "this never happened to the other fella" is like, "Oh, see, it's proof. It's a different guy." Like, no.
Right.
That's not, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
To me, and maybe it's because I grew up reading comic books, right? Like Marvel Comics has history going back to at least the early '60s, if not earlier. And obviously it's not moving in real time. So we just say, well, that happened then, and this is now.
Mm-hmm.
So don't put a date on it. You just say, oh, I fought Venom, a few months ago or whatever, instead of
right.
September of '89, And I think that's the best way to look at Bond. It's like comic book time.
Mm-hmm.
So time moves on, but it's elastic,
Yeah.
I fought Blofeld a few months ago,
Right.
Like, I think that's the best way to look at it, because otherwise, because even the timely references, you just have to sort of view it as it's not a marker in time. It's just a texture within the story.
Mm-hmm.
So like in Goldfinger, when Bond is like, well, if you drink this at this time, it's like listening to the Beatles without wearing earmuffs.
Yeah, right.
Which is ridiculous, right?
Right.
But you just roll with it. It's just, he's just making a reference to fill in the blank music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
So
like Simpsons time.
Yeah, exactly. I was funny with the Beatles thing. I was picturing like Daniel Craig being like, bye, like referencing
exactly,
NSYNC
right?
or something was he shoot somebody.
But that's kind of it would be like in Casino Royale making a joke about Taylor Swift and how she sucks or whatever, and then 20 years later it's like, well, no, she's a beloved artist, and now that's just a weird, awkward piece of like that's a reference that doesn't fit anymore. You just roll with it.
Yeah. It's funny because normally I'm kind of opposed to that because I'd prefer movies to feel timeless. But in a series that has spanned this much time, there's something kind of
what are you gonna do?
novel about it, like kind of fun to see the markers. I mean, you don't want them to lean in 100%.
Well,
that would be.
What's funny is I look at the MCU, for example, and I feel like they're doing themselves a disservice by being so locked into specific dates and times. Because like if some of these movies will be like, oh, this happened in 1985.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, why not just say this happened 30 years ago?
Right.
And whatever that 30 years ago is, whenever you're watching it, it's 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that I want Bond to make pop culture references. Not at all, actually.
Right.
But I do like that the movie. I mean, through the singers doing the opening song, and the attitudes and tone, I do enjoy seeing them as markers in time.
Absolutely. Well, and it is funny that you've got in 1963, he's like, oh, I'm listening to the Beatles without earmuffs, and then less than 10 years later, you've got Paul McCartney doing one of the best songs in the whole series.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that. How funny. Oh, he's back.
Sean Bean, or as I call him, Scene Bean. Or Sean Bond. I don't know which.
By the way, that whole sauna fight, I read Famke Janssen said in an interview that she broke a rib.
Really?
That. And it's funny when you watch it, it is kind of like sexy and fun and them like tussling, and slamming into walls. But you really think about it in real life, you're like, damn, that would hurt. Like these like marble floors and walls, and they're just like ramming into them. Like, that'd probably, that's one of those things, the movie does a good job of selling that this is fun, sexy danger or something. But like in real life, that stuff would really suck. And also at the beginning, you can see when Bond is swimming in that little pool, you see like an attendant sitting in a chair. And I was thinking, like, what in the world is she thinking with them? Like, like, him throwing her over his shoulder. Like, is she just sitting there like, like, I get to go home in an hour.
Now, this is Bond 17. And in 17 movies, this is the first time we've had an MI6 agent go rogue.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, the Impossible Mission Force could take some lessons from these cats, because they got rogue agents coming out of every orifice, it feels like.
Totally. Or it makes me think of like 24. It was every season is like, all right, who's the mole?
Now, see, what I was thinking while watching this is, like, at this point, Sean Bean is like a familiar enough face that when you watch the opening, you probably have some sense, well, he's probably going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trying to remember. I was like, was it a good swerve when this movie came out?
Yeah, I was too young.
Yeah, right? Like
at the time to really have an idea about him, I think.
Yeah, we were still 6 years away from one of the most emotional movie deaths of all time.
Oh, the best. The best. Closing time, James.
Referring, of course, to Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Amazing. Yeah.
I saw a meme. Somebody was like, my wife gave birth without medication, and now she has some sense of what it was like to watch Boromir die.
That's hilarious. I do like this jump here with him being knocked out and then her screaming, "Wake up!"
I think I found her screaming so off-putting that maybe that's what has retroactively made me dislike her character.
Oh, that's
like,
so interesting.
Hey, lady.
But
let me ease into this.
There's a real ugliness to her scream, like a desperation, which maybe I kind of like. Like, see, I'm the opposite. I'm like, listen, we can still remember our manners even if we're moments from death. Yeah. Well, if she had been British, then it'd be like, please, sir, I implore you.
If it was Keira Knightley, she'd be like, "Oi, wake up! We're trapped. We are."
Wait, she's in a Jack Ryan movie. Does that have Sean Bean in it?
A different one does. Patriot Games has Sean Bean.
Oh, I'm screwing it up. Yeah. Okay.
That was 3 years before this.
Yeah.
When was that? I think it was 91, I think.
91, 92, something like that. That's when I started, because Harrison Ford was in that, and I was like, oh, no, actually, I saw Hunt for October, but I was like, what's this all about? It's funny thinking I was like 11 or 12, and I was like wanting to read these Tom Clancy novels, which I did.
We've talked about this before. I found them impenetrable.
Oh, dude. I remember I got The Sum of All Fears first. Because it wasn't a movie I had seen, and I was like, dude, it was like bigger than the Bible. I was like, this is and it was all about the specs of submarines and helicopters. I was like, okay, and so then I think I watched Patriot Games, and then the book was actually a manageable amount of pages, and I did read that, and I did enjoy it, and I don't know, I went on with the movies, but I don't think I did with the books. Grisham was the one who that I could manage and really enjoy it, and I went down the rabbit hole with
those books are page turners. Yeah,
those are great.
So real quick, we talked past it, but I just want to mention they're trapped in the helicopter, and then there's this big red ejector button that Bond rams his head into.
Yes,
and I don't know if that's real, but it seems like a really bad place to put your ejector button,
dude. If you have any turbulence.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
I'm like, that just seems like bad design,
Yeah. Maybe it's a prototype and it's something, a bug they'll work out eventually. But I do like that. I like them being stuck. I like everything about that scene. I like it beginning with her already like mid panic, him like having to figure out where he is and what's going on, seeing that they have like seconds left, and him having to, you know, come up with something fast. And even though it is ridiculous that button is there, I do love it. Like, he doesn't have his hands, so he uses his head to hit the ejector. It reminds me of Die Hard 2 actually a little bit.
See, I think the rest of the movie, he should have this big red like dent in the middle of his forehead.
You know, yes, and he should have been woozy for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like slightly off his game where he thinks there's
cartoon
two of her.
birds over his head.
Yes, that would have been a funny. You know, it's like the movie where that trope where someone like gets high, so then they're high for like 30 minutes in the movie. It's like he's like got a bump on his head, and he's like, ugh, like having to work his way through the rest of this adventure.
I think actually it'd be even funnier if he's exactly the same. He's suave Bond, but he's just got this big dent in the middle of his head. He's
like a Fred Flintstone bump.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, Bond. I really feel like we should go to an urgent care. I'm fine. Just this huge bump. Yeah. And then she like at the end, like, oh, behave, Bond, like kisses him, but like bumps the bump, you know, like, and she's like having to awkwardly maneuver around it to get to his lips.
Or it's that cartoon thing where you press the bump in and then it grows somewhere else.
On his neck or something. Yeah.
You know?
And she's just like, ugh. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, I love that.
So the video game that came out in '97.
Oh, we got to talk about this. Yeah.
For N64. So you know, I never had an N64, right? So
yeah.
I worked at Montgomery Ward. I worked at Electric Avenue, and so I had the demo. You know, we had the demo unit, so you could play about whatever, like 8 minutes of it. You know.
Oh,
and
interesting. It wasn't the demos weren't just the games.
Not the one we had. Yeah, it would like reset after a certain amount of time. I think because they didn't want you just standing there playing forever.
That's a great point. I never thought about that, but yeah.
But did you have an N64?
I did. Which, by the way, I just to reminisce a little bit. That reminds me, I forgot about that. Going to the mall and there would be a Nintendo setup, and I remember like a group of kids, and you kind of. You know, there was like a decorum to it. You know, some kid would play for a little bit and then be like, okay, oh, well, there's a bunch of kids here. I should give this up. And then like the next kid goes in and gets to play. Wow, I forgot all about those days. But yes, I didn't have every Nintendo, but I did have a 64, and GoldenEye was seminal. I mean, that was like a huge, I mean, in many ways. I mean, for me, it was an enormous game, and it lingered for a very long time. I mean, like you said, it came out in '97, but I remember being in college and we would still be playing GoldenEye. Like it aged really, really well. I bet it would still be fun now.
Yeah.
But it was very innovative, right? Like it was developed by these people who didn't have a lot of experience designing games. And that's what worked for them. Like they were just like, wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't this be cool? Yeah. What if we tried this? They didn't know they couldn't or they shouldn't. And so they came up with, you know, there were games like Doom and things that were these 3D shooters, but they just refined it in such a way. And then they came up with that battle mode also. There was the narrative.
The multiplayer mode. Yeah.
Multiplayer. And you would be, it was elaborate. You know, you would go through the sets from this movie, the locations, and have to find one another, and you could pick your weapons, you know, and it was just so different than anything of that time. Now it feels like a lot of games are really like indebted to the innovations of that game, you know?
Yeah, they did the thing where they had like they facially mapped real people onto these 3D constructs,
and they look like, you know, out of nightmares. To be fair, but at the time it was kind of neat.
It was new.
Like,
I mean that was what we had, and you know, it was exciting. It was the thing. It was one of the things that allowed us to get to where we are now, you know, and so you have to appreciate its role in that.
100%. But I mean, we would do those. Yeah, the multiplayer thing and just through the night,
right?
You know, in college, like it was a blast. I love that game. Did you ever get to play it beyond that demo?
No, I never did.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Next time you're down.
I know. I may need to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Jimmy Fallon had Pierce Brosnan on his show relatively maybe in the last 10 years or so, and he had a bit where they played GoldenEye together.
Oh, fun.
And one presumes that Pierce Brosnan did not actually play the game.
But what was cool about it too was I remember you could get these different machine guns, like the Klob. I remember loving the Klob machine gun, and you could shoot we're looking at here, this archive or whatever they're running through. I remember this was a level, and you could shoot stuff. You could shoot the wall, and you would see where the bullets hit, and it would
bullet
stay.
holes. Yeah.
It just cool. You'd never seen anything like that before, and so it was just one of the most immersive adventure video game experiences. And up at that moment, there'd been nothing like it. So
I love this bit right now that we just saw where he pulls out his belt and she's like, "The hell you doing?" He's like, "No, trust me." I love the one of the tropes of the Bond films is Q gives him his gadgets, and it's those specific gadgets that are going to end up being handy. He's never like, "Man, I wish I had the thing from 2 movies ago right now."
Right. Actually, that'd be a good gag.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of the best examples of the plant. You plant early on. Hey, this is going to come into play.
Yep. Here's a pen. Hit it 3 times. And you activate the bomb.
The pen gag, which I love, which we'll talk about when we get there. Real quick, I want to mention the music in this sequence, kind of underscoring the point I was making earlier about how the music score by Eric Serra doesn't really do much. This sequence was actually scored by another composer named John Altman. And I think it's the most memorable. It's probably the most memorable action sequence in the movie, in my opinion.
That's great.
And the music does so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just something about hearing those horns and that great Monty Norman James Bond theme, man. It just does it,
This scene is incredible. I mean, beginning with him using the belt, and we're seeing a stunt guy literally swing through a window and then crash land onto the top of a truck. And you're like, ow, that looks like it hurts. But it feels really visceral. The glass breaking all around him. And it's captured very well, too, is worth noting.
And it's fantastical, it's farcical to some extent, and yet it exists in a real world, right? There's real physics at play, right?
Exactly.
There's a tank driving through a building, and that's really happening,
Yeah, and just collapsing all this stuff around it. It looks amazing and big, and that was an incredible shot. I always love the kind of old school looking shots where there's a splash of light over people's eyes.
On eyes, yep.
And then that one quick moment of him inside, like chasing after them, determined, and the splash of light across his eyes. It's so dramatic. But yeah, all this, there's a weight to it. It feels dangerous. It feels expensive. It feels destructive. There's something visceral about it that you just can't replicate, no matter how much, nothing against CG. I really mean that. But like when they rely 100% on it to be the exciting part.
This sequence really does feel like something you would see in the Christopher McQuarrie Mission Impossible movies.
Yes.
And that's it, right? Like
that's a great point. You're so right. Yep.
I mean, this seems like something out of, Mission Impossible Fallout or something.
You're 100% right. It really does. And I was even like, I mean, it should be obvious, but part of me was like, okay, those buildings can't be real, or at least they built extensions for him to drive through, but how are they doing this? Yeah. And it turns out, it's a mix between shooting in a real city and a backlot. Mm-hmm. But I think it's seamless.
Absolutely.
Sort of, you like to joke, and it's hilarious because it's true, but in Batman 89, how basically that Batmobile chase is just them circling around a block because that's all they had. And it's filmed really well, but if you're like really paying attention, you're like, oh, he's just kind of going in a circle because there's nowhere else for him to go.
That's right.
But this, you would never think about any of this being a backlot.
Yeah, I think it does the trick in that regard, yeah.
And there's like a I don't want to call it a trick, but like a style that Campbell's employing that I love, that I notice a lot, which is he's got the action, but there's a lot of things flying in front of the screen. Like there's cars that are ahead of him that are an extreme close up going, fing, fing, like trying to get out of the way as our attention is actually on the, see right here. But it adds like a real, I don't know, like a visceralness, a vitality, an urgency. Like this is really happening and things need to get the hell out of the way.
Right.
And I think about that a lot in Speed. That happens a lot in Speed. And it just feels like a lost style that people don't employ anymore. And I really do feel like it heightens things a lot.
Yeah, well, we're talking about pretty much this era right here was like the demarcation point where CGI wasn't available and ubiquitous enough to just overtake everything. So people had to work within limitations and find workarounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that allows a lot of these films to stand the test of time better, you know?
Yeah. This is such a great gag too. Like that statue on top of it. And...
Very funny. Yeah. just a trail of chaos.
Yeah.
There's that splash of light you're talking about.
I love it. I mean, I thought about it the other night, but I didn't realize.
Look at this right here, though. I love that he just straightens his tie.
That's what again. That's why he's my Bond. This is the Bond that I like. This is the tone.
See,
I like this tone.
It's so interesting because yeah, that was sort of the unflappable man of action, right? And this isn't a better or worse thing, but it's different approaches. Daniel Craig took almost the exact opposite approach.
Sure.
Where you got a sense of his angst, you know,
mm-hmm.
at various points. It's interesting because I think that's the great thing. I think the character allows so many different entry points.
Sure.
And that's why you can stack all of these alongside each other and be like, you know, I like how Brosnan did this. I like how Roger Moore did this. You know, like I like all the diversity of approaches to playing the character.
And it does feel like the Craig Bonds took the note eventually. Like I remember that one moment when he gets on that train in a really destructive fashion, and then he like checks his cufflink.
Yep.
You know,
that was great. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
yeah, that was in Skyfall. Yeah,
but you know, I would say I remember watching Casino Royale with you for a commentary, which I hadn't watched in years. And I was like, I think this is one of the best action movies of the 21st century.
100% agree.
And I still feel that way. And I would say, you know, a lot of times when directors are going to make a movie, they'll watch older movies for inspiration. And, you know, Spielberg famously watches Lawrence of Arabia every time before he starts a movie. And I would suggest action directors watch Casino Royale and at the very least watch that tank chase. I think it's a really non-showy, but 100% brilliant and effective way to capture action.
Yeah. You know, as we record this, you know, all we know about the next Bond 26 is that Denis Villeneuve is directing it. We don't know anything else. And as much as I'm excited by Denis Villeneuve directing, I think before he signed on, I was not particularly excited about the next one because the Broccoli's are no longer involved. It doesn't feel like the same thing anymore.
Sure.
He signs on, I'm excited. But I don't know what an action movie looks like from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the closest he's gotten to action to me is like Sicario, which I don't really think of that as an action movie per se. You know?
Same. Yeah. He's big with grand epics.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what he does, but I'm curious, you know, because what's interesting to me about Martin Campbell, you can take GoldenEye and Casino Royale, and they are different enough in certain areas that if you told me they were directed by two different people, I'd believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Because I don't think he puts a particular authorial stamp other than just being able to stage these sequences very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think to some extent the Bond films have benefited from that, where it was primarily producer driven and director comes in and does what's asked. You know, because even the latter films, like, see, I'm trying to remember who directed No Time to Die. I'm drawing a total blank.
I know. It feels like I should know this, but
right, it's somebody. You know? It wasn't Danny Boyle. We know that.
Oh, Cary Fukunaga.
Yeah, who did It, right? No.
He
No,
did
it was
the HBO show that everybody's screaming right now at us. True Detective.
True Detective. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, like I think it was well directed,
Yes.
but you're not really paying attention to the direction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's like I'm not meaning to diminish the work. I think it's a well directed film, but I mean I think that's how these movies are. You know,
Yeah.
your job is to not upset the apple cart too much.
Right.
You know.
Right. But Campbell, I mean, and like we said, he did two of the greatest Bond movies, and the Mask of Zorro, which I remember fawning over.
Yeah.
The incredible way the action is captured in that movie.
Well, that's it. I mean, because he did he did the Edge of Darkness miniseries, and then he did the movie also with Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah, I knew that title rang a bell.
And that's pretty good if you haven't seen it.
I bet I have. I don't really remember it, to be honest.
I mean, again, he gets in there. You know what he did? The Foreigner with Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, that's the one I'm always trying to think of for Cinematrix, but can never remember the title.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan and Jackie Chan. It's not a bad flick.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah. He needs to do more stuff. I mean, he's in his 80s now, so he's probably ready to retire, but still.
Yeah, but he should be doing this new Bond. Let's face it.
I know.
He should be kicking it out. He's a rabbit's foot at this point for them.
Lucky charm. I agree.
Yeah. By the way, I love. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, when Trevelyan has lines here, like do all those vodka martinis silence the screams of the women you didn't save? I'm like, all right, let's.
right.
They're piling it on a little thick,
Right.
Or should I say, do all the vodka martinis?
Yeah. Yes, we agree to the audience. It was a bit much. That's really funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, when there was the playing chicken with the tank and the train, I like that Onatopp is just sitting there licking her lips, totally like turned on.
Right?
It's just such a funny, They haven't done that in a while, right? That kind of weird hypersexual Bond villain, female villain recently. Like that's something that's kind of...
Yeah, because you had like the Grace Jones character, 10 years before this, and View to a Kill, and
right.
What have they done since? Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to think of one. Yeah, I guess not.
It's just kind of funny. Like it feels like the old and meets new here.
Very much of its time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, something. Sorry.
Even in the latter Pierce Brosnan ones, I don't think he had a character like Xenia Onatopp.
Yeah, right. But she is like slightly ridiculous. Like you have to be on board.
Well, her name is Xenia Onatopp, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I find her
not
fun,
exactly
but
a lot of vagina, but it's getting there.
It is. But I feel like that's about as far as you can go. And even now, I don't think we would accept a character like that.
The other, I was making the Austin Powers reference. I think about how Austin Powers, the first one, came out 2 years after this.
Yeah,
and that too probably played some role in them having to sort of reset their own compasses a little bit.
Totally, because they were calling out the Bond tropes.
Yeah. I mean, all the puns and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm. Totally. I love that too. By the way, this riddle she can't solve.
Sit
Bond's
on it,
like, sure. He just knows it right away.
I was thinking about it. You sit on it, but you can't take it with you. And I'm like, yeah, but you do take your ass with you. So why would she be? She thinks it's your ass.
Well, and she's doing the wrong amount of letters too. If she's in a hurry, she's like putting arse and things like that when we know it's 5 letters. You really don't like this woman.
I like her one bit. She's no good for you, James.
That's really funny. I like this. If I remember right, this is a good leap.
Right there. That was in all the trailers. I remember that.
Actually, I was thinking of something else. But shoot, I had 5 thoughts. I was going to say I thought this was just kind of a interesting thing, but I guess Brosnan hurt his hand at some point. And so to hurry things along in this movie, they used his son as a hand double for some shots.
A hand double?
Yeah. So like flipping the glove compartment open to reveal that bottle of champagne earlier. And then cutting through the floor of the train here with the wristwatch, that was like his son's hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Kind of
Wow.
cool. See, this is kind of a funny flip here, where she's
Dude,
like, you know.
Out of nowhere.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I'll give you
on.
that. I'll give you that.
Like,
This is like the only series
looks-
where I'm like, oh, right, of course, instead
Well,
of like rejecting it.
When you look like Pierce Brosnan, you can get away with it, I suppose.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, come on.
Oh, I was gonna say earlier too, when Sean Bean is talking to Natalia, and he's like forcing himself on her.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, you're like, okay, well, he's the villain, and so he's gross, and of course she's not gonna go for it. But he's like pushing really hard, and then she's like pushing him away, and then slaps him. And then they do this wide shot where you see all these other people in the train. I was like, aren't you embarrassed? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, if she like kind of pushed away once, wouldn't she be like, I look like a fool?
He's a Cossack. They don't care, Brian.
Oh,
Are you paying attention? Come on.
But yeah,
that
this is
too. I was thinking that plot line about the whole Cossack thing. I was like, man, that was a pull back then.
Sure, right.
Like, people watching it in 2025 are gonna, what are you even talking about? You know,
right. That is a funny, by the way. I mean, going along with the now Natalia's, madly in love with him. It is kind of a funny tonal
she's got that
shift.
post-sex look on her face.
Well, not just that. Yes, like there's them outside this flaming train, and she's kind of like, well, and you're like, oh, so this is happening, and then just like cut to like her in this like summer dress, and they're like in the tropics. You're like, oh, okay, so we're shift. I was reading too, by the way. So Q sets up that the BMW Z3 is equipped with all these weapons and
Yeah, but we don't see any used.
Which I guess is because they got the BMW late because it was a prototype and it couldn't be damaged.
Yep, that's
so
right.
we really only see him like strolling around in it instead of using all the things that Q set up with it.
By the way, Wade here mentions he got the plane from a friend in the DEA. And Felix Leiter is in the DEA in the last movie, so I'd like to think that that's a little nod to little continuity.
Yeah,
I think that works.
Yeah.
The intro scene with Q and the Beamers, like, yeah, it does this, that, and the other thing, and then it had been long enough where I was like, wait, do we see any of
that? Right.
And indeed, we don't.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently the Bond folks signed a deal with BMW for the next 3 movies, which is why he drives one in this Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough, and then he has the Aston Martin again and Die Another Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was reading that they were saying this is considered one of the most successful product placements in movie history. In terms of how much BMW profited. Like they, like 250 million in advanced sales just from exposure.
I mean, that's these Bond movies are paid for before they even call action because they got all these licensing deals in place.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, it's subtle enough where it's not real egregious. It's just, oh, here's the suit that James Bond is wearing,
Yeah, well, sure, yeah. Well, and then, previous to this also, Bond had worn a Rolex, and then this one, he, for the first time, wears an Omega, which he still wears to this day. But I do think of like, oh yeah, Sean Connery, Rolex, and I even think now the new Bond, like Omega, like he really does get tied to these sorts of things. So everybody wins.
So this scene here, I appreciate the intent behind it, and I know Pierce Brosnan has said they put that in there specifically for him. He asked them to, where it's him just sort of being morose. But it to me it feels very like obligation, like we got to put in a scene that lets Pierce do some acting.
Yeah.
It feels slightly off with everything we've seen up to this point and what we're going to see later.
Yeah.
Right. Because the idea, she's like, oh, why are you so cold? And he's like, it's what keeps me alive. And it's what keeps you alone. And I get it. Again, you're trying to deepen the character.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there was a way to weave that in more organically.
Yeah, they stopped the movie to do it.
They stopped the movie, and then it's odd because it's like, hey, because Wade's like, hey, here's all your gadgets and stuff, and then here's this scene, and then we fade into them post coitus, so there's time for that at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, now let's go kick the bad guy's ass.
It's kind of the opposite of what I was saying at the beginning, where I enjoyed Bond's flirtation with Onatopp and them racing the cars, but they added some business to it. Like he's also being evaluated, like there's a lot of things happening at once. And this is, slowing the movie down to a crawl and only focusing on this when we're kind of ready to ramp up and get to business.
I mean, that specific conversation, you're telling me they couldn't have that in the context of them racing towards the destination while they're in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some movement.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's like, let me just go sit on the beach and be with my thoughts.
And then now we're with them in bed, just
right.
Nothing really progressing.
It's very weird.
I mean, you could have kind of combined this, maybe these two scenes, sort of.
I don't think you need this scene at all because we get it. They've done it already. And again, it's like, listen, I get that you're horny and probably chubbed up because of,
chubbed up. I like that. Yeah.
But like, you got stuff to do. I mean, there is like a world-threatening issue on the horizon,
No, I agree. It could even be like waiting for the plane, waiting for what's his name to arrive, and then he arrived. You know what I mean? Like in the middle, their conversation gets interrupted. He is opening up a little bit, but then the plane lands, and we got to get back to business. Like just a little more snap to it.
Look, I mean, right? You have a shot right here where she glances over at him and he looks all stoic, and she's like, "This is your friend. How do you feel?" And he's like, "I have to do what I have to do." And then she says, "How can you be like this?" I mean, you're doing the same exact dialogue, but you're doing it in the context of getting somewhere where we need to be.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
She says in the plane, "No, it's what keeps you alone," and he just kind of glances over at her like, "Shit, she's right," something like that.
No, I agree. I was trying to fix what was already there, but you're right. Just hack those two scenes, go straight to the plane, because we're moving toward the ending, and they can have the same conversation. Like you're about to.
It's just weird to stop for a sex scene.
Yeah, but maybe it's like there's like a checklist or something. For.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, we've already established like we did it. We did the like 3 minutes ago. Outside the train.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I'm assuming that was a model, the missile. That was cool though. Looked good.
I agree.
You ever been in a small plane like that, by the way?
I have not, and I do not want to. My son Hamza, he flew one of these.
What?
Yeah,
I remember that. Sorry, now that you say it. Yes, that's right.
It's like a Boy Scout merit badge thing.
That's right.
And he's like, "Hey, you want me to fly you?" I was like, "Nope." It's like, I'm not getting into one of them planes. I don't care who's flying it. I don't care if it's an expert pilot.
Yeah. Now my fourth grade teacher, he was a pilot, and on the last day of school he would take all the students up. So we would all go to the airport and we got turns, and he would fly us over our house. So I remember my mom and my brother standing outside, like in the front lawn with a sheet, waving a sheet, and he flew us kind of over my house, and I got to see that.
Holy moly.
It's pretty cool.
Wow. This is when you were in fourth grade, you said?
Yeah, fourth grade. Mr. Thomas. Wow. He was the cool teacher. I remember that was when The Simpsons was new and the shirts were kind of controversial, and he wore a "Don't Have a Cow Man" shirt. And I remember we were all like, "Mr. Thomas is cool."
He was your Mr. Bergstrom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he was a nice guy.
This is a nice shot here where there's kind of this weird impressionistic as Xenia lands on top of him.
Yeah, with her legs. I like her legs like she's ready to squeeze.
Famke Janssen, she managed to launch a pretty decent career off the back of this movie.
I was literally just thinking about that now. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that the first thing I thought of next was this is really random, but Maid, the movie that Favreau made after Swingers. She had a good role in that. But of course, X-Men.
I mean, she appeared in however many of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I saw her was actually before this. She was in an episode of Next Generation
Oh, okay.
called "The Perfect Mate."
Was she?
And
Or did she
was
prove to
indeed.
be? Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember when this movie was ramping up, and it says, "Oh, Famke Janssen's good." I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember her from the X-Men, from the not from X-Men, from Star Trek."
Yeah.
And then it just literally occurs to me just now. And then she would work with Patrick Stewart again years later.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't even think about that until literally just the second.
I like how simple this is.
Yeah.
Too, by the way. She's hanging from this helicopter. He just uses a machine gun to shoot the helicopter. It crashes, so it pulls her cable and squeezes her. Now she's getting squeezed in the crook of a tree. That's
That's where Bond is like, she always did like a tight squeeze or something. And then that's a total Austin Powers thing where you just want him to keep going.
Yes, but she doesn't love it. Natalia's like, yes, I get it.
Just keep going, because that's like I think it's in the first Austin Powers, right, where it's like he just keeps going, and what's her name? Who's
Elizabeth Hurley?
Elizabeth Hurley. She's like, yeah. You'll never get ahead in life, or whatever.
Yeah, right. And he's like, okay, let's go. Like after doing it a couple times. That you're so right. That moment. And maybe that's why they don't do that, because now we think of the Austin Powers thing.
I mean, the puns in the Brosnan era got like ridiculous. Like I remember in the next one, the character Jonathan Pryce plays the villain, and he's like a media mogul.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bond is captured, and and Michelle Yeoh is Bond's love interest, and so they're in the helicopter and they see all these buildings with his face on them, and Bond is like, he has an Oedipus complex or something like that. And I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Wow. I mean, look, I admire it. I'm not gonna lie, but like, kudos to whoever came up with that. But like, yeah. It's kind of funny, like if you have to think for like more than a second, like, oh, that's clever. Like It's you stop and think about how clever it is.
Yeah, you're probably doing it wrong then,
That's pretty good though. So I'm assuming this is all model stuff. It looks amazing. Looks big and grand. The big satellite.
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing is there is an appropriate amount of scale to the movie, but I think smartly they kept the budget manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, this one cost $60 million, which, like, can you imagine?
No,
right? And that's the thing, right? When you see these movies spending just ungodly amounts of money, right? Like this is the whole issue about Fast and Furious 10.2 or whatever, right? Vin Diesel wants to spend the GDP of New Guinea,
right,
and I'm like, come on, guys, like find ways of doing it creatively, not on the cheap, but cheaply,
right. Yeah.
Like that's how you get to keep going when the movies make money. If they're not making money, it's not going to happen. So spend less, make more. It's not rocket science.
Totally. And if you come up with creative enough concepts and set pieces, we won't notice that the budget has changed.
And I mean, I really do feel like, and let's see how well this ages, but I feel like we may be on the other side of just CGI overload. I think audiences are kind of done with it.
Yeah. But what makes you say that?
I think there, at some point, you just max out on getting an emotional response from a bunch of pixels that are doing things that don't comport with physics.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree.
Right.
I'd rather see them use to assist certain sorts of things,
Exactly.
More
right.
practical things, yeah.
So look, there's always going to be your big superhero things or your big sci-fi thing, but I just think there's room for more, and I think there's something about there's a reason that people still watch Die Hard
Yeah.
this many years later, but they don't watch, Die Hard 5,
Yeah.
And,
Many reasons.
Well, there's many reasons, but I think one of the primary ones is like Die Hard, the first one. It's about the human story, and it's about a scale that we can get our arms around.
Yeah, having to tie a hose around your waist and jump off the side of a building, which is funny because you can imagine if you had that scene now. I was thinking this actually with the tank and the chicken thing with the train earlier, where I was like, I wonder if you turned that script in now, if someone would be like, yeah, but how can we make this bigger? And it's like, no, that's pretty big. A train's gonna, and that's the thing too, is we're gonna see a real train crash into a real tank. It's gonna look, and it captured well. That's really exciting. Have faith in that.
That one bit, I don't know if you saw, where there's a bullet just like whizzes right by his head, and he just kind of tilts his head slightly.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Again, it's just that unflappable,
Yep. Totally.
But yeah, the point you're making is exactly right. It's less about how do you go bigger, but how do you make it go deeper.
Exactly.
I think that's what people respond to. I think this film in particular, like the heart is the betrayal that Bond feels over his former friend, right? And if anything, I would have liked the movie to delve deeper into that,
Yep.
Because really, when you think about it, we get the opening sequence. And then we get Trevelyan's reveal later, and there's like one mention of him, but there isn't, like, maybe something in the middle where Bond reflects on their friendship.
I totally agree. Agree. I did like that shot, by the way, where he's got that bomb that he plants on the vat or whatever that is, and as he's taken away, it like the camera slowly like moves over, showing the bomb, and also that the vat has been compromised and it's leaking liquid. You're like, oh,
ruh-roh.
Yep, that's gonna pay off. It is funny though. I do have this feeling when I watch this movie. Oh, I remember this in the game. Like, I remember running around this set.
That's so funny. And like when you compare it to video games now, where you can recreate sets with exacting precision.
Exactly.
The RoboCop PlayStation game. Holy moly! I mean, you're walking around the precinct.
That's amazing. I know you've mentioned that before. I gotta try that out.
Yeah. Well, next time you come up, I can lend it to you if you want.
Yeah. No, I do love that. I mean, I like Call of Duty and those sorts of games too, but like, I love all these movie games, like movie worlds that I want to live in. Like there's a Terminator game that's on PS5 that I loved because it gave me exactly what I've always dreamed of, which is going into that world and fighting Terminators. Yeah. And it's just, the graphics are so great. It's so immersive. It's, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle recently.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's like, I literally felt like I got to live inside an Indiana Jones movie, because you can do that now. You can walk through these villages and get into boats and, you can write Indiana Jones and get an actor who sounds enough like him. You probably couldn't, you couldn't have done that when GoldenEye, the game, came out in 97, but now you can.
Well, GoldenEye laid the track.
100%.
Yeah. I was actually looking at Alan Cumming, another X-Men connection.
That's right.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Playing Nightcrawler again in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this right here. All the vodka martinis that were saying. It's like, all right.
Right.
See, I like that this movie got the throat clearing out of the way, and then after that they could just get on with it with the other ones, Because I feel like the more you sort of draw attention to the, the dated aspects of it or whatever, the more it becomes a harder thing to fully embrace.
Sure.
So just don't go. Real quick. So Boris is like, Natalia. He's all excited. What reaction was Bro thinking she was going to have?
I know. He left her to die.
This now you talk about tension in a scene.
So good. Yeah.
As Alan Cumming is clicking that pen, and I love that we keep cutting to Bond as he's like mentally keeping track of the clicks.
Yes, right.
It is brilliant. Like
Yeah.
on Brosnan's, you see him. He's like trying to keep count.
Which is funny because you've mentioned Austin Powers a couple times. Now I'm picturing the Austin Powers version of this, where he's like, "Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, phew. No, they're 3. Oh no. Oh, phew. You know." And like, stop that. Stop it. What are you doing? But yeah, they set it up well where he's this fidgety guy at the beginning, always playing with a pen, and it's pretty good.
So it tracks.
Yeah,
that right there.
Yeah. It's like little relief. But yeah, I don't know if I noticed it as much the other night, but his sort of
Yeah, I know, and it's literally you can see him mentally counting.
Yeah, that's really funny. This is good. She's got business. She changed the code. She's the one who brings the GoldenEye, into reentry.
Yeah, she's still.
Yeah, she still sucks. That's really funny.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan is currently he's 72.
Wow.
And I was thinking about how when Brosnan got the Bond gig, Sean Connery was 65.
Wait, say that again?
When Brosnan got the Bond gig, Connery was 65.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, I think what's cool is that Pierce Brosnan has had a very rich post-Bond career a la Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas, for example, Roger Moore, basically he just retired, right? He didn't really work again after. George Lazenby obviously was George Lazenby,
Mm-hmm.
Even Timothy Dalton, he's kept working, but I don't think he's ever had anything as high profile. But I feel like Brosnan, he's even now he's on that TV show with Mobland, right? With Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell. I haven't seen it.
This is the problem with streaming TV shows. There's
I know there's
many of them.
I know it's hard to keep track, and they could be very good.
Yep,
but you just can't get to all of them.
Hell, he real quick. No, he was in Black Adam, which I know is a movie neither of us is thrilled about, but he was pretty friggin' great in that movie.
I agree. He's one of the things I remember most about that movie, to be honest.
Yeah, he gave it more like emotional depth than it probably really deserved.
Sure. Yeah. Excuse me. It's funny. I'm realizing now that I would have been familiar already with Brosnan because of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
was
that's
like
right.
2 years before this.
92?
Yeah.
It was 92.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew him from Remington Steele for sure. Had you not watched Remington Steele?
No. I know it exists, but I don't think I've ever seen an episode.
So I watched that in the late 80s, early 90s, because they used to show that in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So I knew him from Remington Steele. And I remember at the time, this is when I was living overseas, a friend was like, oh, he was supposed to be James Bond. And I was like, he wouldn't be a good James Bond. I remember thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought on Remington Steele, he was too young and he was too thin.
And
he had that big hair. I still think, in my opinion, his hair is too big in this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think as the movies went on, his haircut got, he got his hair cut shorter. It looks better, in my opinion.
Huh.
So like for me, World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day, I think he looks the best.
By the way, I keep noticing it's really fun to watch these movies with the sound off because I notice so many more things.
Yeah.
But I was bringing up during the tank chase that a good way to make this lumbering tank feel very dangerous and exciting is to have all these things whipping in the foreground.
Right.
Cars getting out of the way, but you can't even see you just see the tops of the roofs of the cars, just. And I'm noticing also, look at this, like there's so much stuff in the foreground. He keeps putting in the foreground here, even when it's like through a chain fence or something as Bond is dodging bullets. And even like the ricochets are flashing at the front of the screen, or the frame with Bond behind them. Like I think that adds a lot to the kineticism.
I agree. I mean, see what I think about as I watch this, and as you say, without the sound, I think about how a great music score would have done so much to elevate this even further.
Sure.
Because I'm watching this and I picture the music from like The Rock a year later. Because they're doing very similar stuff, right? Where Goodspeed is fighting with those guys, and they really shit the bed when it comes to getting Eric Serra to the music. I really don't understand what the thinking was there.
Yeah.
Because I think they realized their mistake, right? Because he had David Arnold do the movie scores for the next, all the Brosnan ones. I think he did Casino Royale and Quantum. So, the next 5 movies David Arnold did, right? And David Arnold, very much a big bombastic composer in the vein of John Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I just can't look away. I'm just studying every frame, and I just really feel like, having
Give us this. This is the stuff I like.
Yeah. Good light too, by the way. Look at all those shadows on the wall.
And it's 2 guys just beating the shit out of each other. Like, that's interesting,
Yeah. And a place that has a lot of dimensionality to it. Interestingly captured. Yeah. I feel like I think about these things and I feel these things a lot, and sometimes I feel like I've gotten the lesson, but I feel like I'm still learning watching this right now. I love it. There is a lot of like point and shoot. There's the light on the eyes again. There's a lot of like my complaint in the past decade or so is a lot of point and shoot. Just point the camera and capture the action, and that works sometimes for certain stories. But the intentionality of all this, I feel like really pays off.
Yeah,
gives it that sizzle.
No, absolutely. That's this. Look at the compositing here with the blue screen stuff. That's fantastic.
What's funny? Like, obviously, my modern eyes know that that's a composited shot, but I really did feel oh dang, like that's really high. Like, I felt it in my stomach. Like, I don't want to fall from that ladder. Which is, if I can give a compliment to that shot.
Well, I think this whole sequence here, we know the gravity literally of the situation.
Yeah, I do not want to fall into that dish.
Yeah, right. That's great. Look at that.
And by the way, even if I had the high ground, you would not catch me doing that cool slide down the ladder to try to knock my opponent off of it. Forget that. Sean Bean, he just kind of slides down. Forget that.
You know what I would have liked with Trevelyan is I would have liked to see him do something really awful during the course of the movie.
Like what?
Like that really,
with who and at what point?
I like at some point in the middle, like something, because ultimately we have the GoldenEye explosion and he wants to do this money scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, he's a bad guy, but like something that demonstrates, no, this guy's a piece of shit. He's not your friend.
Right.
And to me, that would make it mean more when he's like, for England, James, no, for me,
Yeah, so like he couldn't be turned.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
something like something where we see like he has Bond captive, maybe it's in the train, and he does something like he launches a missile or something on somebody who has no bearing on anything. He just does it to be cruel.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
No, I gotcha.
Because I think this moment when he says "for me," I would have liked it to mean more.
Yep.
Than just because essentially it's like, oh, he betrayed England, and I'm upset about that. Kind of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way, okay.
Yeah,
you are 1,000,000% dead when you land there. There is not a universe where you can possibly be alive.
Right. You get
he should have been paced.
Yeah, I was gonna say
in a flesh bag.
It makes me think of you're describing very well the image in my head. The in The Departed when Martin Sheen falls out of that building.
Yes.
You remember? And then DiCaprio like runs around the corner and it just
yeah, right.
All his ketchup explodes on him. You're like, ah!
Are you kidding? I mean,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. But he just sort of like broke his ankle.
Because we need that one moment. He broke his leg in like 8 different directions. It feels like. We need that moment where he sees the thing fall on top of him. You know.
Yeah, I feel like we used to get a bunch of these. This makes me think of Last Crusade a little bit.
Well, it
The
makes
guy in
me
the
think
tank
of
and
Mask of Zorro, where you get remember the gold bars fall on top of.
oh yeah,
Captain
yeah. I mean, like that zoom in on the villain's face
Mhm.
when he realizes, like,
Yeah,
you know
definitely
what I'm
Last
talking about?
Crusade.
Yeah,
Definitely Last Crusade. Yeah.
yeah. It's like a horrifying kind of shot, but it's effective. But yeah, sing the. Yeah, I remember this all the way from '95 when I saw it.
So you think this Alan Cumming statue is sitting in a Planet Hollywood warehouse somewhere next to Naked Stallone?
Exactly. Yeah, probably. And then I'd be grateful that they sat me next to Alan Cumming versus
versus Naked Stallone.
naked cryogenic Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
How have we not done that commentary track yet?
I don't know. Oh, I'd love it. Demolition
That
Man.
feels like we need to.
Dude, we'll have to get some Taco Bell and sit down and do that commentary. I just rewatched that recently. It's so fun.
That's very much an artifact of its time.
Whoa, totally. And speaking of Sandra Bullock, pre-Speed
Yeah,
Sandra Bullock.
That's right. Yeah. What was that? 93? 93. Yeah.
Yep.
Pre-Speed. Yeah. That's for sure. Because I remember when I watched Speed, I already knew her from Demolition Man.
Yeah. Yo, Jimbo. It's kind of funny. You got all these people hiding. Make love to me, James. And like, what are they thinking? Like, oh, geez, we're going to be here a while. Under their hay. It's a funny gag. And this is one of those funny movie things, too, where like these helicopters appear out of nowhere and descend as if you couldn't hear that from like 2 miles away.
I know, right?
And Guantanamo gets a shout out.
I know. I was thinking about that.
What were we going to say?
No, it reminds this ending with the troops all coming out of the bush. It reminds me of The Interview, which is how that movie ends.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
With the SEAL Team 6.
I forgot about that.
That movie has Winds of Change playing at the end. I think that's what this movie needed for full effect. So GoldenEye arrived with the marching orders and the promise of reinventing and revitalizing James Bond for the 90s. Would you say it succeeded 30 years later?
Completely, I think. And that's going back to what I was saying earlier. That's part of its charm for me is its 90s-ness.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, that's kind of, this is something you say often, right? Where whenever it's the latest thing, it carries the weight of being the latest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tend to look at it with more, you assign more weight to it. Like it has to do all this. But, this is, this is movie 17 out of 25.
Right.
And so the nice thing is you can view it as just movie 17 out of 25.
Right.
And that's kind of what I like about it. I like that the Bond films allow for that, where it's the catalog itself that gives it value more than the individual entries.
Mm-hmm.
It's the total body of work. And so I look at this and I see the things that it carries on from before and the things that it starts moving forward. And this, it really is kind of like a nexus point in the franchise. I mean, it's at almost the exact halfway point between the start of the series and now.
Wow.
Almost exactly, because it was 62, 62 to, so it's about 33 years, right? So give or take. But it's the last one that Albert Broccoli was involved in. It's the first one with Judi Dench. It's the first one with Brosnan. Like all the, so you start looking at what are the ingredients that we have to include. What are the ingredients that we can start to move on from.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there is one answer of like what makes a good Bond movie. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that there isn't one answer.
Sure. Oh yeah, sure. Not one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a variety of different approaches. I remember when this came out, I was so grateful it did well. I didn't get to see this in theaters, I should say. Because at that time I didn't get to the theaters often, but my friend Todd Martins, who I was on the newspaper with at Glenbard North, who is now he works for the LA Times. He used to be their music critic. He does their like theme park coverage now. He had the Laserdisc, and I was like, wow, Laserdisc. And he copied the Laserdisc onto a VHS tape for me. So that's how I watched it the first time.
That's kind of cool.
You know,
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that very well, and I remember watching it, and I saw it. It had been long enough since it came out because I had to wait till home video that I was able to appreciate what worked while noticing the stuff that didn't work for me. You know, because I was definitely like a diehard Bond fan by then. I had seen most of the movies, and you know, I was pretty well familiar with the history, so it was exciting to see it back. You know. And in the present, but it wasn't, I never doubted that it would be back. It wasn't like, you know, I was like, well, they always make James Bond movies. So that, what we just saw
at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, just seeing James Bond will return at the end. Come on. That always makes me happy. Even at the end of No Time to Die, where he has been obliterated, it still says James Bond will return. Even death can't kill James Bond, which I kind of love.
Does it really? I didn't know that at the end of that one.
Yeah. It says that.
I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, so those are my thoughts on GoldenEye.
Yeah, man, this is a blast. I was excited to rewatch this one. I've seen it. I want to say in the past couple of years, I had also seen it, but yeah, like I have great feelings toward this. I always enjoy going back to it. Well,
like I said, I think it might be fun to periodically hop in and revisit these Pierce Brosnan films.
I would love that. Yeah.
You know? Might be kind of a fun journey to go on. But hey, everybody listening, let us know your thoughts on our thoughts on GoldenEye. What do you think about this one? Do you agree with what we said or disagree? Either way, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. We're also on YouTube. So if you're listening to this show there, please hit like and leave some comments there. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a star rating. We also have a Patreon page, Brian.
Yes, if you head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and hit subscribe for only $5 a month, you'll find every commentary we've ever done and every episode moving forward absolutely ad-free. Our free feed will always be available, but this is our way of providing what we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show. And especially with commentaries like this, that's without random interruptions and ads butting into the conversation, especially if you're trying to follow along with the movie. Plus, your subscription goes a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain producing the show. So if you're interested and able, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful.
There we go. And if you're looking for me online, you can find me on social media at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. You can also read my reviews at the San Francisco Chronicle and also at IGN and The Wrap. What about you, Brian?
You can find episodes I've written of Puppy Dog Pals and Young Jedi Adventures streaming on Disney+.
Well, with that, on behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. This has been our movie film commentary track for GoldenEye. We will catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.